Greetings and welcome to episode 3 of the Medicine Chat podcast. I am your host, Medea Allen. I am a teacher, way shower, and facilitator of Full Spectrum Health and founder CEO of Organic Soul Chef, which is a multimodality holistic health practice. I'm currently expanding this practice as I train to become a doctor of Oriental medicine. And the Medicine Chat podcast, it's a high vibration conversation infused with deeper insights into health, healing, making sustainable lifestyle choices, and embodying balance during challenging times. Today, we're exploring how to supercharge your health during the pandemic with Eastern medicine, and I am joined by my good friend, dear brother, Dr. Bashara Wilson. Dr. Bashara Wilson is a doctor of acupuncture and Chinese medicine with over 20 years of clinical experience. He is the owner of Brooklyn-based New York Sports Acupuncture. Dr. Wilson also offers virtual evaluations to clients around the globe and has successfully been helping numerous people around the country to deal with various health conditions using herbal medicine, nutritional supplements, diet, exercise, and other lifestyle changes. He lives in Brooklyn with his wife, Dr. Danette Bean, and their son. And please reach out to him via the link that's provided in the description. So, Dr. Wilson, welcome. How are you?
Peace. Thank you. Thank you for having me, Medea.
Yes, this is going to be so much fun. So much fun.
Yeah.
All right. So before we dive into the $1 million question of how can people supercharge their health during the pandemic with Eastern medicine, I would love for you to define what does medicine mean for you?
Well, medicine is anything that assists in just our health, really, on a mind, body, spiritual, emotional, all the different aspects of ourselves. In this medicine, one of the things that I've really tuned in is to the 3 levels of healing. We say where the lowest level of healing and medicine is where people go to the doctor after they're already sick. That's likened to forging weapons after the war has already started, or digging a well after you're already thirsty. Now, it helps. You can get there, but you're already late. And this is like the main paradigm of like the system that we live in. People go to the doctor when they're sick. And then you have the middle level of healing, which deals with preventive medicine. So a lot of that may be looking at, some of the work that I do in a way, and what we do in a certain way, where we can look at someone's body constitution, somebody's body, all of the signs and symptoms of their health, whether we're talking about their energy level, their sleeping habits, their dietary habits, exercise, any pains, so on and so forth. And that paints a picture of your health. And so from there, we're able to say, if you keep going like this, this will happen. So what we do is work to prevent that from happening. And then the highest level of healing, the highest level of medicine is where we help folks to be so tuned into themselves that they fulfill their life purpose.
Oh, wow. I love it. That I want a doctor who can help me tune into my life purpose and fulfill it. Like that's the new way. I love that. I love that breakdown of the different levels, because it helps a person to understand, well, where do I fit in?
Right.
And what do I really want to achieve? Do I want to, someone who can help put a bandage over it? Do I want somebody who can help me prevent it? Or do I want somebody to help me to like come and rock this lifetime out, like rock it out, right?
Yep.
I love it. Love it. Love it. So what would you, I guess you can just share like what actually, I love asking this question of specific acupuncturists, like Acupuncture, I don't think is something that you just, want to grow up and be. Like, I've never heard a child say, I want to grow up and be an acupuncturist. So I love asking acupuncturists and Chinese medicine doctors, like, what actually brought you to this medicine?
Well, I'm gonna take it back. I'm born in the '70s, so that make me, I guess, a child of the late '70s and the '80s. And I remember, I have like a great memory for certain things. And I remember going to like my cousin's house and actually a couple of people's house and seeing the book Back to Eden. I'm talking about I'm like 6, 7, 8 years old and just kind of seeing it on the shelf and just picking it up and seeing like this Back to Eden, because I mean Eden was always like a biblical sort of thing. So it's like Back to Eden. Wow, I thought we were kicked out the garden. We could go back. And so I would look through that book and see specifically like the herbs and all sorts of stuff. A lot of it I just kind of flipped through, but that book always stuck out to me. And then in the early '80s also, I remember my mother and everyone, they were doing the Bahamian, Dick Gregory's Bahamian diet.
My mom too. Yep. Juice those carrots. And
right.
Yep.
And so that was always amazing. Just like, what is that? And then in the mid '80s, my mother had gotten into starting taking like vitamins and supplements. I'm talking about like 85, 86. She was taking stuff from Shaq Lee. I think they might still be around. And so I remember my mother taking like handful of vitamins from when I was like 9, 10 years old. So, fast forward a few years, my mother had some health challenges. She was recovering from like a surgery. And when she went to the health food store, the brother in there, Rasta brother, was like, look, while you're recovering, you shouldn't eat any meat. Every day she would go and he was like, I got some ital stew, come by, you can get some. And she started getting into herbs, started going along like the path around vegetarian diet, studying different things. She ran across Queen Afua's book, Heal Thyself. So this is probably going back to like 89, 90, 91. And so I would flip through that, and my mother, she started buying stuff like spirulina and soy milk and just stopped cooking meat and stuff in the house. She would cook meat stuff, but, just kind of watching my mother's progress. Fast forward a little bit more. I went to college, and when I got to college, so you talk about like 94, 95, started studying a lot of stuff like Deepak Chopra, reading a lot of world kind of philosophy, world spiritual paths, religion books, started meditating, got into like Taoist meditation after my sophomore year. And that really helped to open up my mind and my spirit to, as what Deepak Chopra would say, the what does he say, the realm of, not realm, so basically infinite possibility, being open to infinite possibility. And through meditation, like how everybody was talking about with the conjunction that happened on the 21st, everybody was talking about they were getting their superpowers. I felt like I got like my superpowers back then, like for real. Like I would think stuff, and then later on it would happen. I would say stuff, and later on it would show up like in that day physically, where people would be like, yo, B, weren't you just talking about that earlier?
Wow.
And so I stick with the Taoist meditation, Tao just kind of being like, for folks that don't know what the Tao is, when you watch like the old Kung Fu movies and you see the master with the long stringy beard, kind of like the master from the movie Kill Bill, they deal with like the Tao. And so literally tapped into the meditations that they do, like that's real. And so my senior year, so I was studying a lot of herbs and foods, natural stuff like meditation, of course, like I said, all sorts of stuff, tapping in, reading about the chakras, all sorts of stuff. And a lot of the books I had were actually books. I went to Wesleyan University, undergraduate, and I worked in a library. And they have like a whole, in most of the libraries, actually, there's like a whole metaphysical world religion sort of section that people don't even know about. I mean, it's like one of those things that are hidden in plain sight because you're not really looking for those things. You just go into the library to study, get whatever books you need for school. But me working there, I was exploring the library and I saw like this whole section, huge section, like a metaphysical bookstore. And so I would go through there, read books, and with meditating, I was able to really focus and read really quickly. So I was reading like damn near 2 or 3 books a week, it seemed like sometimes.
Wow.
So my senior year, I majored in African American studies. And I came home for winter break, and I knew my mother wouldn't let me take home her books. So I was up taking notes on all of her books on herbs and vitamins and anything that she had. And at the end of break, I looked up, I had like 20, 25 pages of notes. So I said, I can maybe turn this into my senior project. So my advisor was like, cool. I was like, I'm going to do health addressing like the African American community to deal with my major in African American studies. So I took all of the stuff on herbs and then I just added a couple articles on health in a Black community, African American community, and that ended up being a 55. It was supposed to be 25 pages, and that ended up being a 55-page book called Good Health and Well-Being for African Americans.
Amazing. And where can we find your book, Dr. Wilson?
I don't even know. I think I have it on my shelf. I think I put it on Amazon. You might be able to get it on Amazon. Like, I need to push it. That was just something that I wrote. Hopefully by the time this podcast airs, I'll have it on. So it's called Good Health and Well-Being for African Americans, under my name. I'll probably put it on my website or something like that so we can access it. And so after I graduated, my mind was already awake. I didn't want to do the corporate thing. I wasn't interested in becoming like a school teacher. Didn't want to go back to school to get my master's. I was like, I want to be an herbalist. And so I got back and linked with a couple folks, linked with Queen Afua, studied with her for a couple years. And actually that summer, I went and I found out about Pacific Institute of Oriental Medicine and a couple other schools. So I went on a tour, and when I visited Pacific Institute, which then became Pacific College of Oriental Medicine, and now is the Pacific College of Health Sciences, when I was taking my tour, I saw the herbal pharmacy, and it was a whole room, shelves, all 4 walls from ceiling to from floor to the ceiling, all just herbs. It was like a couple hundred herbs. So I was like, I want to come here.
Wow.
But I don't want to study all of that acupuncture and stuff like that. I just want to do the herbs. And they were like, well, you have to do the whole program. And you get like a master's of science in traditional Oriental medicine and so on and so forth. I was 21, 22 years old at the time. Big old afro. So I said, let me go into it. I can get an accredited degree, get a whole profession. When I'm done, licensed as an acupuncturist, why not go for it? And so while I was in school, had a chance to visit China and Tibet for about a month. While I was in China, actually was able to study with a breatharian master out there.
Wow.
Like amazing stuff that you see in the books. Like I literally went out there just to meet him. And my classmate who organized the trip, European dude, he is married to a Chinese woman. Her father and the breatharian teacher grew up together. And so he was like, on the strength of my friend, his stepfather, any of you that want to get initiated into my Taoist order, I'll initiate you.
Wow. So you were initiated.
Yeah, I was initiated into the Long Mun, which is the Dragon Gate sect of the Tao.
Wow.
Which is that's a whole nother story. I don't want to take the whole time with that. That's a whole nother thing. Everything.
Podcast episode.
Yeah,
right
with that experience. And then while I was in school, I also had a chance to visit Senegal and the Gambia, studied a little bit out there, went to Ghana, learned some things about herbs and stuff too. And so, I finished in 2002, started my private practice. Been in private practice since then. Later on, I went and got my certification in sports medicine, acupuncture, which is a whole nother year. Then a couple years ago, went in and completed my doctoral studies. So now, from a doctor of acupuncture and Chinese medicine. So this is what I do all day, every day, private practice since 2002, 2003, and counting school clinical experience since like 99, 2000. So this is what I do all day, every day. That's the long, long story.
No, thank you for sharing, because I'm sure that your story will inspire so many people, young African-American brothers, sisters, everybody can be inspired.
I'm from the hood, I'm not a street cat, but I'm from Brooklyn, East New York. Like, I'm here right in the middle of everything,
Right.
Pop Smoke mother is a friend of my mother. I remember meeting him when he was like 10, So yeah, I'm from right here in the middle of it all, and been blessed to be able to come into this field and this medicine early, travel the world from East New York to Tibet to everywhere. So I just give thanks for.
Amazing. Yeah. I love hearing your story, because I heard so many like me too's in my head. I was like, yeah, me too. I just wanted to take a moment and just honor your mother, honor my mother, because my mother also, she showed me, I think she, not knowing, she showed me what I was going to eventually be doing with my life. Like your mother, my mother was into the Bahamian diet, juicing. She was into herbs. I would always see the Herbally Yours book laying around the house.
Mm-hmm.
She even had a herbal shop inside of a community marketplace in Southeast DC called The Natural Way. And she got all her herbs from Frontier Herbs. She had an apothecary in the middle of Southeast DC, making herbal formulas. People come to her for high blood pressure, losing weight, fertility.
Yeah.
So I honor our mothers. Like it's a beautiful thing.
So you're officially second generation.
I mean, so I'll have to honor my grandfather. I'll say I'm third generation, because my grandfather, Hezekiah Speaks, Washington, D.C., was an intuitive healer. So people came to him for many things. The stories I would hear, my mother share about him, he had lots of tinctures and herbs and such, and people who needed help on many levels, not just the physical, spiritual as well, and emotional. He's with me for sure. Let's put it like that. I didn't meet him. He had already passed by the time I was born. And I hear him every time I get in front of herbs. I just hear, get this, get that. Get this, get that. Like, I hear it. I hear him.
That's awesome.
Yeah. So, I love it. So,
definitely honor to your grandfather and your whole family line. That's a blessing. If you able to tap in, it probably still, if he was doing that, then it probably goes back further than him too. So
yes, and all the names of the ancestors that I do not know, I acknowledge your presence. I acknowledge your Ashe. So, acupuncture, Eastern medicine, Oriental medicine, we've kind of thrown out those many terms, and it can kind of be confusing. It's a beautiful system of medicine. There's so much inside of it. So if somebody would come to you and say, okay, I want you to be my doctor, help me. What is that like? Like, what are you going to do with them? What are they to expect when they work with you as their doctor?
So through in person, God willing, inshallah, would be able to open up my practice again in person in spring when everything shut down in COVID in March. Acupuncture in New York and just in general wasn't seen as essential medicine. So I closed my private in-person practice, but I've been doing virtual evaluations over Zoom. And so in person, someone comes in, I would take their temperature, take their blood pressure. I would look at their tongue and take their pulse. When we look at the tongue from an Eastern medicine standpoint, the different organ systems show up on the tongue, specifically like the energy of the heart, the liver, the spleen, the lungs, the kidneys. And when I say those are from like an Eastern medicine standpoint, not necessarily, they don't have a one-to-one correlation to like anatomy, physiology. But when I'm looking at the tongue, I'm looking at the color of the tongue, the size of the tongue, the coat of the tongue, where any cracks might be, moisture. When I'm feeling the pulse, I'm feeling the speed of it, the strength of it. I'm feeling the pulse at different levels, whether I'm pushing all the way down to the bone, in the middle, or on the surface. And all of that starts to paint a picture of the health just from looking at your tongue and pulse, checking the blood pressure, and looking at someone's body temperature. You know, like the body temperature average is about 98.6 degrees. A lot of people, their body temperature might be 97.8, 97.9 degrees. And so the further that we get away from optimal body temperature, our body is getting further away from optimal health.
Oh, wow.
And then I'll start going through what we call the 10 questions. I'll ask even more questions than that, going through all of your body's health systems. So we'll start with your chief complaint. Like most people are coming in because they have something that they're looking to rebalance from, something that they're looking to fix. So we go into the whole history of that from when it first started all the way to the present. And then from there, we start talking about all of your different body systems from head to toe, whether we're talking about you get any headaches, lightheadedness, dizziness, your sweat, your body temperature, your energy level, your respiration, your digestive system, what you eat, any pain, you know, it's a whole host of questions. And that, along with your pulse, your tongue, your chief complaint, paints a whole picture of your individual body constitution. From there, we come up with a working diagnosis from a traditional Chinese medicine, a traditional Eastern medicine standpoint. And then that directs us to the treatment plan. So like I said, right now, everything is virtual. So I haven't been doing any acupuncture, and looking to start back to open up my doors for that. So in a session, I would do acupuncture. I do a lot, you know, I specialize in sports medicine with the acupuncture. So I'll use that with electric stimulation. People are familiar with like the TENS machine, where if they have pain, they'll put like the electrodes on their body, and it kind of, if you ever been to therapy, well, I attach like a little electric, similar to that, to the acupuncture needles, which penetrates even deeper into the body to release any knots in the body, anywhere the muscle may be tight, where the muscle might be in spasm, to help to not recharge, but what's the word I'm looking for? To basically start to, I forget the word, is escaping my mind, to reset the muscles. Mm-hmm. And but in my virtual practice, I've been doing an evaluation. I do a case review evaluation, which is the same thing I do in my in-person practice, which is about 2 hours long.
Oh, wow. So people, they spend a lot of time with you as that. Their doctor. It's not just a 15 minutes in and out, and that's it.
No, and I'll do a case review before I even touch anyone.
Wow.
So
and what does that involve, the case review?
The same thing, all of the different questions I ask about is about, probably close to like 200 questions.
Wow.
And so I'm starting from when you're in the womb. Did your mother have any physical or emotional trauma while she was pregnant with you? Mm-hmm. The first years of your life, were you breastfed? Were you formula fed? Any injuries, going all the way up to the present? Because a lot of times, things that are going on now with someone's health may have started with some sort of physical, emotional trauma, or spiritual trauma, but physical, say, or emotional trauma going back to when they were in the womb. Like you have some people that were being their mother was being physically abused while she was pregnant with them.
Wow. And that can just show up as disease in their
right.
adult life. It's
right.
So, amazing how, you know, deep we can go with this medicine, and just being able to get to the roots, right? So that's a kind of a treatment principle, like treating the roots and the branches.
Yeah.
I just, yeah.
And
So
you
I,
say that. Go ahead.
no, I was going to say, I just think that you can be of service to so many people who haven't gotten gotten to the root, haven't gotten the balance that they're looking for. They've been on all the medications, they've tried all the things and the surgery, and people who oftentimes with their conventional doctors are saying, sorry, we can't help you anymore, they start to turn to these ancient traditional forms of medicine.
And when
So
you talk about the branch versus the root, just to kind of go further into that, like a branch issue might be indigestion. And so I might see a whole family of people where someone has indigestion, bloating, gas, acid reflux, irregular bowel movements. One person might have it because they have a nervous stomach. You know, they're under a lot of stress, and the effects of the stress is overacting on their stomach, causing digestive issues. Another person might be eating a lot of sweet, greasy foods, burgers and fries and junk food, which upsets their digestion. Another person might be eating too many cold foods, a lot of smoothies. You know, say people think they're being healthy. A lot of smoothies, salads, cold, raw foods, which is affecting, we say, their digestive fire, cooling off their stomach. And those foods are upsetting their digestion. In, say, like just Western medicine, someone might just take the pink stuff, you know, Pepto or Tums or whatever, antacids. Where with the first person, I may give them things for their digestive system, but we have to help them settle out their nerves and relax the stress. The other person, I'm like, you got to stop eating the sweet, greasy foods. The third person is like, you need to eat some warm stuff. All of it, the branch is digestive issues, but the root might be stress. The root might be the weakness coming from the diet. The root might be eating too many cold foods. And so we have to treat the root and the branch, as opposed to just kind of stopping pain by taking a painkiller. You know, no, we got to reset your muscle. We got to look at your posture. We have to look at how you're sitting at your desk.
yeah, it's amazing. And so I think what you're highlighting is the necessity for people to have an acupuncturist, a doctor who can give them their specific diagnosis. Because one, you know, like you said, the branch is the same, but the roots are different, and you have to get with your practitioner who can sit with you and get all your specifics. Because there's no one, you know, cure all, and we all are our lives are different, you know,
Right.
and we have different levels of pathology and constitution and so get yourself an acupuncturist for everybody who's listening. Get yourself a doctor. Reach out to Dr. Bashar, you know, and soon, that next year, I'll be licensed. And but for those who, you know, are in Maryland, I am an intern at the Maryland University of Integrative Health. So I am seeing patients. So
yes,
come on.
exactly. Yep. And that's where it starts. As intern, you already have clinical experience.
Yeah.
And a lot of people go into the clinic because the clinic for you in Maryland or DC or wherever in the what y'all call it, in the DMV, down there, go over to see Medea over at the school at Maryland. Was it Maryland University Integrative Health?
Yep. It used to be
Sophia.
It used to be Thai Sophia way back in the day when it was just acupuncture. So yeah, now it's Maryland University of Integrative Health.
Yeah, and you can get treatment at a discount, like at a strong discount. So, you know, a lot of folks may not be able to afford acupuncture sometimes, but if you go to the clinic, you still get very high quality treatments from senior interns, and they're under the direction of licensed acupuncturists, and that's where it all starts. So I would definitely advise to go wherever you can go, because there's something out there for everybody, whether it's community style, going to the school clinic, or going to someone in private practice.
Absolutely. Absolutely. This medicine is here to serve, and it's time. So we're in this pandemic time, and just to move into this last leg of the conversation, what would be three top ways that you think a person could supercharge their health, during this pandemic with Eastern medicine? So, so lighten around three top ways as we start to wrap up.
All right, cool. So one thing I would say is definitely stay warm. That's one thing I really noticed with this is that, just keeping your body warm, taking herbs like ginger, dried ginger tea, cinnamon tea. If you like spicy food, you can even add a little cayenne pepper. Especially as we're going through the winter time here in the Northeast and the East Coast specifically, to help to keep your body warm up. Just doing that alone is going to boost the immune system. Definitely stay away from like your sweets, anything junk food, sweets. A lot of people, when the pandemic first hit and everybody was emergency shopping, I saw folks with a shopping cart full of soda and cakes and things like that. There's some herbs that you can also take, like astragalus, American ginseng, which are both going to help to support the lung health, the lung energy. You also want to combine that with some, just on the general, I would love to see people individually, but like some antimicrobial, antiviral herbs like your golden seal and echinacea. That's where stuff like that comes in. All of your bitter herbs. This thing also affects the digestive system. So actually ginger will help with that also. So a basic herbal formula, and then something in there that's also going to help to get rid of mucus. Trying to think of some Western herbs that folks might know, like the elecampane, or basically you can just do some research, herbs that help to get rid of mucus. So call me, I have whole herbal formulas for that. And last is take up like meditation. A lot of what's going on right now is very fear-based. A lot of folks are very scared because I think we've all been touched. Somebody knows somebody that's either had it or have passed away, or a family member that's passed away. And then lastly, I guess is part 4, is again with your diet. Like around this time of year, you want to be eating a lot of seasonal foods. So now's the time you want to be eating your yams, sweet potatoes, your turnips and rutabagas, beets even, your stews and soups, a lot of foods that are going to really nourish the body, provide a lot of nutrition and warm the body. And like lastly, I'm an herbalist. I've been having a lot of success in helping a lot of people all around the country deal with the Rona. I don't even mention the name because they got all of that patented and stuff like that. But some herbal formulas that date back, that's based on stuff that's almost 2,000 years old, to help to strengthen the lungs, warm the body, get rid of mucus, support the digestion, boost the immune system, and help folks to really get over some of this just in a few days. So, say give me a call, and let's see what we can do to help keep your body strong. And if you know anybody that's been diagnosed with it, let's get them on the path of recovery relatively quickly.
Absolutely. I love seeing your posts on social media. I just love the photos of the herbs. You put some invaluable content up about moxa and acupuncture, the whole bit. So I just really appreciate you for all that you're doing to serve humanity right now. So how can people find you on social media? Because they definitely need to link into that.
So right now, I've been doing a lot of stuff, mostly through Instagram, just under my name, Bashara Wilson. And on there, I have a lot of pictures of herbs. On my IGTV is a lot of videos. You can also follow me on YouTube. A lot of it's probably going to be the same content on Instagram. You can go to my practice, New York Sports Acupuncture.com, New York Sports Acupuncture.com. And that has a ton of info. I have a blog. Once you follow the link that's up, I I have a whole flow page on there where it's linked to all of my social media contacts, or just Google me. You know, I've been doing a lot of stuff for a lot of years. You can put my name in Google and a lot of my work will pop up across all different spheres, or call me. My number 888-375-5444, and can set up an evaluation for you and get you on the path, you know, treatment plan. You know, we do the virtual evaluation, which is 2 hours. And then from there, we set up a treatment plan, which includes herbs, nutrition, nutritional supplements, different exercises, and other lifestyle changes that you can do at home to get you on the path to reach all of your health goals and get rid of whatever these health conditions that you might be suffering from once and for all, and work to take it to that highest level, and help you to tune in to tap into your life purpose and do what you need to do while you're on this planet.
Amazing, amazing, amazing. I'm so excited for the people who are going to wake up when they hear this podcast and reach out. I just want to, again, thank you so much, Dr. Bashara Wilson, for your time, your presence, your sharing, your service. And again, for everyone who is listening, the power is in your hands. Remember that. You're alive, you're breathing, therefore you have the ability to find what you need to take the next step for your highest expression. So thanks so much for listening to episode 3 of the Medicine Chat podcast. Until next time, may the blessings be.